Good evening, everyone. Yes. So today here I am with my class number 19, and today we will be continuing on what exactly we stopped in the last class. So if I have to ask you about the question about last class that we did, we have just started a new unit or a new short story titled Babar Ali, which has been written by Samarpit Mukherjee Sharma. So what we have discussed in the last class is the very tagline of the chapter, that is Babar Ali, has been given to you in your textbook as the world's, I think it is given as the world's youngest headmaster, isn't it? World's youngest headmaster who is making remarkable changes in the field of education or remarkable changes in India. That is what it has been clearly given. Then we read something more about what is the author is all about, Samarpita Mukherjee Sharma, who actually works for a magazine, isn't it? She is once a leader, one who works for the youth magazine in India, and she is having an experience of bringing out all the realities of the life which cannot be believed or something. So here is a story about the India's, not only India's but also the world's youngest headmaster, who just at the age of 16 years has become the headmaster of his own school, where he educates the underprivileged or the children who are deprived of the education. Isn't it? So after reading more about the author or so, we discussed about two important questions relating to the pre-reading activity, wherein we read like, do you see or do you know the people who have transformed? Meaning of the word transformed here is like the complete change from beginning to end. Completely they have changed the educational scenario. So have you come across any person, one who has done any kind of a remarkable changes, complete transformational changes in any field or so? Discuss the same question with the friends. So I had very clearly told you about some two examples with respect to this, wherein I discussed about Swami Vivekananda as a one person, remarkable changes that they have made, and APJ Abdul Kalam. These are the two names that I mentioned, and I had asked you about to think few names in your own so that you have seen them bringing out the remarkable changes or so. Okay, then we started off discussing the chapter, and I think I stopped somewhere around to the school. We are going to look at the school of Babar Ali, but before that we should understand that he is a man from West Bengal, that is Babar Ali, and he is supposed to be the world's youngest headmaster in the world, because he was just 16 years. At this age, people definitely think of going out and playing, but not this man, who thought that after his school hours he used to come back to his own backyard of his house, where he used to teach them the education, isn't it? And this story of a young man comes from a Murshidabad, his man, that is Babar Ali is the youngest headmaster who comes from Murshidabad of West Bengal, is a remarkable tale of the desire to learn amid the direst poverty. So being he himself is also poor, at the same time he doesn't want the other poor children to be deprived of education, and that's the reason that he has taken up this job of becoming the youngest headmaster, because he has his school in his own backyard of his house. Okay, and then Tanveer, that is the youth leader, YL leader, nothing but the youth leader Tanveer, who hails from Bangladesh. He is actually narrating us the story. Okay, so when he narrates us the story, we have been told here about what Babar Ali does. So Babar Ali wakes up every day at 7 o'clock in the morning, does some household works, and then he goes to a school, isn't it? Because he is class 12 student himself. That is what you got to understand. And he also tells you that the name of his school is that, like, first he takes a rickshaw and then he walks for 5 kilometers to reach to Qasim Bazar Raj Govinda Sundari Vidyapeeth. Now this is the name of the school where he is studying grade 12. He is a 12th class student, and the name of the school has been given there in the text, and you will have to understand that. And then we also know that he is a very studious, very courageous boy with lot of strength, because being at class 12, he has taken a direct step of teaching or giving education to the poor children of his village. So, studious, smart and austere in his blue and white uniform, Babar is a model student because he becomes a role model to the other poor children of his place, Murshidabad, right? So, he is also the first member of his family to get a proper education. So, he is the first child in his family who is getting the proper education. Then, in school, he is an ideal student, but it is what he does after his school hours intrigues the entire world. So, in a school, he is just like a normal student, but what he does after his school is something which is very, very important. Then, when every other teenager goes around to go and play cricket or football or whatsoever, but this boy goes to the backyard. Why does he go to the backyard? He goes to the backyard because he has to give education, or he has to start teaching to the poor students who are almost about 800 in numbers. And this is what we have done in the last class, isn't it? So recollect all these things, look into the text, identify the words or mark it or whatsoever. And now let us continue with the next heading that we have, that is Welcome to Babar Ali's School dots. Okay, now it is dilapidated, not very clean, worn out, very old, dilapidated. Okay, so it is, that is, Babar Ali's school is a dilapidated concrete structure covered in half-ton posters. Inside, in a tiny, small, dank room behind a desk, sits someone even the Queen of England knows by name, and should you too. That is, in this very small, dingy room which is covered with half-tone posters and dingy room with concrete structure, in a corner of a table, there sits a young man. Okay, there sits a young man who is known even by the Queen of England. Why do you think he has been considered here that Babar Ali's name was a known familiar to everyone? Because he is the youngest headmaster in the whole world. That is the reason that even the Queen of England knows who this man is. So obviously you should also know whom am I talking about. So he is talking about the headmaster, the world's youngest headmaster, that is Babar Ali. Behind the office is a gate that opens to Babar's home. As I said, he has his school just in his own house backyard. This is where rows of poor, underprivileged kids sit under the open blue sky and learn what most children in the modern world pay hundreds of dollars for free. That is, the description of the school is nothing but it is an open air school. It doesn't have any roof or a classroom or something, sophisticated, what do we call these days, like digital classrooms or so. So it is the backyard of Babar Ali, which is in open air. So there is a blue sky as a roof. Okay, under that there sit lots of children who are poor, at the same time underprivileged. Okay, so because why they have gathered, why are they here? They are here to get a proper education. And who is teaching them? Obviously Babar Ali, with the help of his other friends. What is that? We will come to know it later. But right now what you need to understand here is that, so it's an open air classroom just at the backyard of his own house, and many other students or many other privileged students pay thousands of rupees in order to get this type of education. But here we have so poor and underprivileged students who are getting education by Babar Ali after his college hours. This is where 800 kids, but here how do they learn? They learn everything for free. Unlike other schools, if they have to go to other school, first of all they are very poor, and then they are underprivileged. They cannot afford paying so many huge amount of money to the other schools in the terms of fee, and that is why they come here because of their poverty, because of their unprivileged facilities that they have at home or something. They come here to Babar Ali School, where he is teaching more than 800 students free of cost. That is what you got to understand here, right? Then this is where 800 kids who are deprived from their basic right for education walk miles to learn free of cost the basics and the fundamentals of life. So they come here, not only that surround Murshidabad or the people in the Murshidabad, but Babar Ali is having students mainly from Babar Ali is having students mainly from the place where he can get the students from so many different places. So dear students, there are more than 800 students who walk not only from Murshidabad but also from the other places, who walk to his school because his school is providing everything for free. That's what you need to understand here. So they walk miles away free of cost the basics and the fundamentals of life. The basics and the fundamentals of life here is nothing but a reference to the education. All right. So let's take a minute over here and think. While we whine about our allowances and fuss about staying out late, this average boy from a small village is actually helping to make this world a better place. Most of us are of the opinion that I'm very busy, I don't find time at all. Maybe you might have come across your own parents telling you that they don't get time to teach you, or they supervise you, or whatsoever in the similar way. So here, for a worldly thing, we don't have time, but for the money's sake or for the job that we do, we have time, but after that we don't want to. But here there is a story of this small young boy who's actually takes so much of pain in terms of educating the poor children. That is, while we whine about our allowances and fuss about staying out late, this average boy from a small village is actually helping to make this world a better place. That is, he is actually struggling very much. He is working very hard in order to give a better place for the children who are very poor and who are underprivileged. Why? Because he himself is a student. He goes to college, comes back from that place. Instead of going out and playing at his age or something, he has given a space in his own house backyard where he teaches more than 800 students. So let us think about it. That's what the author tells us here, where he is giving, or he is just trying very hard to give a better place for the children who are deprived of education. The reasons are many for that. It could be because of their poverty, it could be because they are underprivileged, because they do not want, or because they do not get what they want. That is why he gives them, or he wants to give them, a better place. Today, all around the world, where millions of children are being deprived from literacy because their families cannot bear the expenses. Now, the actual fact is that in today's world, if you take some examples of the underprivileged students, their parents' reason for not sending them to school is obviously money, or obviously their poverty or so. So, being illiterate is not only India's problem, it is also a problem of so many developing countries, especially these African countries, where we could see that children are deprived because they do not get a proper education, or they do not have a right to education. But today we are living in RTE, that is right to education, means everyone has a right to get educated. This is today's world, but I am talking to you something about 1920s, or maybe after independence. So then it was a situation where the students, especially the students of poor people, were deprived of their education because they cannot afford them paying the fees and sending them to the school. So I'm sure you might have heard of child labor. So child labor law was abolished in India, you know that, right? So in the similar way, what we need to think here is that today all around the world there are millions of children who are deprived of education, isn't it? From literacy, because their families cannot bear the expenses. They don't want to pay their fees, or they cannot pay the fee. This one school boy from India is trying to change that. So Babar Ali is really working hard to change the whole scenario of educating even the poor children or the underprivileged children. And so at the age of 16, Babar Ali has become the world's youngest headmaster, and Babar happens to be one of the fortunate souls in his village. What is the name of his village? Murshidabad, and it is located in the state of West Bengal. Don't forget that, okay? So Babar happens to be one of the fortunate souls. Why? Because he is giving their education to these poor people or the underprivileged people, that too without taking any money. That is why he is been regarded as the purest souls or the fortunate souls in the whole village. In the Bapta neighborhood of Gangapur village in West Bengal's Murshidabad. So here you come to know the exact location of the school, and Babar Ali's school is located in the Bapta neighborhood, that is the neighbors of Babar Ali, Bapta neighborhood of Gangapur village in West Bengal's Murshidabad. So Gangapur is the name of the village where his school is, and it is in the Murshidabad. Babar lives with 3 siblings. That is, now we are talking about the family of the Babar Ali, that is the youngest headmaster. So Babar lives with 3 siblings, brothers and sisters, and his parents in a thatched, something covered with some roof, without walls, thatched, okay. So thatched house is the size of an average city kitchen. That is, his whole house is just the size of a city kitchen, where he is living in that house. 3 siblings are there plus his parents, okay. Yet even then, ironically, he is still among the privileged ones in his village. In spite of being poor himself, he is privileged. Why? You will come to know the reason now here, okay. Now he becomes, that is Babar Ali has become the privileged child in his village, because unlike most children there, he went to school and got formal education. At the same age of Babar Ali, many other children in the same village were not sent by their parents to the school because they cannot afford the fee. So here is a boy, that is Babar Ali, who is very fortunate, because right now he is receiving a formal education. That is, as I said, he is a class 12 student. He went to school and got a formal education. He was better off also in being the son of Nasiruddin Sheikh. Okay, his father, the name of Babar Ali's father is Nasiruddin Sheikh, and he is the son of Nasiruddin Sheikh, and Nasiruddin is actually a jute seller. Jute, you know what is jute, right? So jute seller and a dropout who did not have a formal education, believes that education is man's true religion. Now what do you come to know here is that the name of the father of Babar Ali, who is nothing but Nasiruddin Sheikh, and Nasiruddin is of the opinion that man's true religion is nothing but education. So why he is saying so is because in his childhood he was not sent by his parents to the school to receive the proper education, which now he doesn't want to continue with his own children. And that is the reason that Nasiruddin, who is actually a jute seller by profession, okay, he sells jute for the better living of his life, and who thinks that man's true religion is nothing but education, and who is initially supported his son's venture with his own income. So when he spoke, or when Babar Ali came up with an idea of starting a school for the poor children, his father helped him a lot from his own income. Coming from a privileged family, Babar realized he must do something for the other children in this village. So as he had the support from his own father in terms of opening a school for the poor and the underprivileged children, okay, he got help from his father, and when he got this support or a help from the father, he became more interested in opening up the school also. Clear? Then, even though children are provided free education, sending children to school is entirely free of cost. Although the children taught for free, they still have to pay for uniforms, books, etc. Now, what happens in the school of Babar Ali? Okay, so due to a lot of struggle, help and hard work, finally Babar Ali could open a school on his own house backyard in Gangapur village. Who are the neighborhoods? Who are the neighborhoods of Babar Ali? It is Bapta family. Okay, so when he started off the school, when he really wanted, he even got a help from his own father. Then what was his school is all like? This is what this paragraph tells us here. Okay, even though children are provided free education, as I said, Babar Ali is providing them the free education. Sending children to school is not entirely free of cost. Okay, not that all the expenses were borne by Babar Ali. That is, the children who come to his school are taught, that is, they were taught free of cost, but those children still had to pay fee for the uniform and the books. This is why a lot of family cannot afford to send their send their children to school. Thus, instead of going to school, most of the boys help out their families by working as mechanics, day laborers, grass cutters, livestock herders, etc. That is, when the parents of such children were knowing about the fee, school fee and all those stuff, okay, the uniform, the books and all those stuff, they better felt that no, let my children work along with me as I do. That is why most of the parents were not willing to send the children to the school. Reasons are many, like bulk fee, paying for their uniform, paying for books and all those stuff. So that is why most of the parents in his village or in his surrounding place were of the opinion that let my child be a laborer if I am a laborer, let my child be a farmer if I am a farmer. So in that way, they were not sending their children to the school. So most of the families started working as the mechanics or day laborers or grass cutters or livestock herders, you know who they are. Whereas girls work as maid servants in the village where they cook, clean, wash clothes and dishes for their employers. Babar Ali wanted to change this. So he knows his village very well that most of the parents in the village want their male child to work with the same profession as the father does. If he is a woodcutter, he should also be a woodcutter. If he is a farmer, he should be a farmer. If he is a livestock herder, he should also be doing the same thing. Whereas the girls, that is the female children of the same parents, were sent to some household works. That is, they used to work as the maids or something, where they used to work for their employers in terms of cooking, cleaning, washing utensils and all those stuff. So this was seen by Babar Ali very much, and he has seen it from his own eyes, and that is the reason that he wanted to change the whole scenario of his village or of his neighboring villages mindset of the parents. He wanted to change this. That is why Babar Ali thought of a decision that he took an initiative of opening his very own school. That is, the conditions, the situations in his village and in his surrounding villages, the way the parents were reacting, the way the parents were doing things with these people, finally made Babar Ali to change his own view in terms of providing the education to the children free of cost. So that is why he got support from his own father. He had his own dreams. He had his own ambitions in life. Being a grade 12 student after the school hours, this is Babar Ali, who is considered as the youngest headmaster of the world, is taken an initiative of opening the school, and that is how he opened that particular school. Okay, so this is what exactly we have done today. So I'll stop here and we will continue tomorrow with the name of his school and what does he actually do there. Hope you all are following it up. Okay, hope I'm not going too very fast. All right, so I'm sure you all have the textbooks with you. So after watching this video, please read the whole thing, whatever I have covered today, so that you will have a proper understanding. Okay, so be regularly watching the videos whatever we try to upload here, and then continue with the text where it is exactly it is been given to you, so that you will not be missing anything from the text. It could be happening from your own reading. At the same time, you can just watch these videos and read it again and again to understand. So far I have come to a place, or we have just winded up at a place talking about how Babar Ali's school was, what made him to do so, what made him to open a school for, especially for the poor and the underprivileged children or so. So he has around 800 students in his school, and especially this school was meant for providing free education to the poor family students who are direst poor people or maybe underprivileged from their upbringing. So we'll stop here and I shall continue with the next heading that we have, Anand Shiksha Niketan. So we will understand, or we will discuss what is this Anand Shiksha Niketan is all about. So thank you, and tomorrow I will continue from where I have stopped.